What's up, everyone? How are we doing today? I'm Mark. I got Robert here and Michael as well. What's up, guys? How we doing?
So good to be here.
All right, good deal. We're super excited. I love the REDX webinars. Anyone else show of hands? I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
I'm glad. I'm glad. You just say that because I'm here, but I'll still take it.
Hey, you said you're going to Venmo me later, right? Well, today we're going to be talking a bit about kind of doubling up your business with offers that are working in today's market. Seems like a really hot topic over the last 2 years. So really excited to kind of dive into this. And Michael, where are you from?
Man, I live in Puerto Rico, Dorado Beach, Puerto Rico.
I'm kind of jealous. All right, meeting adjourned. I'm hopping on a plane.
Hey, there you go. Come on, let's do it.
That's awesome. So what's it like over there in Puerto Rico right now? It looks nice.
Yeah, it's about 86 degrees. I'm on an hour and a half on the other side of the island at the El Conquistador. But you know, it's a beautiful place, man. We were swimming with sea turtles this weekend. Just, it's a great place to be. I also I travel back and forth. I moved here from Dallas, so I sold a lot of real estate in Dallas, Frisco area.
Awesome. That's great. And then Robert, you're of course same place.
It's here in Utah. It is not Puerto Rico. It is not 86 degrees. I did not swim with sea turtles, but it's still awesome to be here. It's a good place to be.
Yeah. Sea turtles in Utah would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Michael, I had a couple of questions for you. So I want to jump in. Starting with the topic today. What are you seeing right now, kind of like in the market as far as offers, a shift in offers, and kind of what's working nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I think that the best agent is the best marketer, and I think the best marketer has to have a message to market match. And so, my best year in real estate, I listed 368 homes, and I did that 100% as a result of me always following the commandment of marketing, which is always working on the offer. And so right now, I think it is shifting. I think that there's obviously the national market, and then you have like the local market. So I don't think this is, I think Frisco is different than Tulsa, Oklahoma, but for the most part in Frisco, for instance, where I keep my finger on the pulse, I said about a month ago, we had the first time that we saw listing reductions happen, in 2 years where, it dropped by 1%. I think Frisco month over month was down 42%. You have a lot of different things that are going on. So I think, right now is, my definition has always been when the homeowner thinks tomorrow could be worse than today. It's when it's easier to get their attention, because in marketing, it's all about certainty, right? People want certainty. And so I think right now as it becomes more uncertain, this is just my opinion. Right. I think what's going to happen over June and July is going to hit mainstream media. It's always been kind of the tail wagging the dog. So you won't start to see the things that are happening now until the seasonality curve into Q4. And that's when there's going to create a lot of more uncertainty in the market for home sellers. And so I think they're going to be a lot more receptive to giving them certainty. So for years, if you look in Atlanta, Georgia, Mark Spain, a lot of different markets, my business partner, Jake Hinder, myself, all over the country, people use the guaranteed sell. Why did they do it? Because it provided certainty to the homeowner of letting them know that if they did list their home, that it would sell, right? And so that offer was very compelling, since I've been in real estate since 2002. Well, you look back in 2021, it's like, don't work. Your home sold guarantee doesn't work when you have 45 people making an offer on your house. We know it's going to sell, right? And so, I think right now that those types of things, are gonna become more compelling for homeowners that are looking for certainty and to be in a certain place by a certain time. For us right now, the best things that are still working, we got a guy in Louisiana today. He's been in real estate, Kayla Mentz at 9 deals in 49 days, James Pham in California, from being not licensed to, 19 pending, that was all new construction offers, right? But it wasn't just the offer, it was the nurturing the relationship with content you know, leveraging things like YouTube and stuff like that. So it really depends, you know. On the sell side, I think offering the guarantee of certainty. I think the universal compelling offer is the cheese offer, which, you know, every offer has a cheese or a whisker, and I think the best cheese offer is the finding out what your home is worth. And so a lot of people don't, you know, I think we generated 150,000 home evaluation leads in 2016. We learned a lot going back through that data. And one thing that we did learn was that 9% of them sold their home within 12 months, but a large percent of them sold their home the following year. And so I think it's a good database builder. But what we found was, the final thing on that was that if we put thinking of selling your home, find out what it's worth, we had a better quality than just saying find out what your home is worth. And I still see a lot of people, you know, a majority of the time just saying what your home's worth without adding the language of thinking of selling your home. Find out what it's worth, which kind of repels the people wanting to debate their tax appraisal in January, or, you know, whatever it is. So, you know, for different people, different things. Circle prospecting office, obviously the cash offer, no hassle. But again, you know, there's a good book out there. It's an amazing book. It's called The $100 Million Offer. Just came out probably 4 or 5 months ago. $100 Million Offer. And the whole concept is exactly what I'm saying. You know, Frank Kern always work on the offer. So I think you're, you know, there's going to be at a time that, you know, like now, where you can get attention by, you know, really tweaking the things that you're saying, because what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow.
Right. Very much so.
That's good info. Can I ask a question, Mark?
Yeah, please.
Where are you going? Because I'm super curious in the shifting market. You know, like everything that you said makes total sense and has worked for a really long time. But right now, I'm wondering, are you seeing people that are like, hey, my buddy sold his house in 2 days. Can you sell my house in 2 days? Or, you know, like I heard that you're getting multiple offers. And so what are you going to do? So as the market shifts away from that, as you talk about coming off this curve, so maybe by Q4, a lot of our potential customers kind of understand what's going on in the market. But as it shifts, is there any messaging that you're changing as you work on that offer, or that you're working with people that are like, hey, I want you to sell my home and I want you to sell it how they got sold 2 months ago? Or, you know, what are you seeing as the market's shifting right now, real time?
Well, so the first thing, I think that, you know, you have two things, right? So you have a target audience, which is your market that you're going after. Are you going after people who missed two credit card payments that have a 32% chance of listing their home? Or are you going after people like Veronica Figueroa, or a large part of the market who their youngest person in their household just moved out, which, you know, we know that there's also like a 36% chance their home's going to be on the market in the next 12 months if their house is valued at over 500,000. So the first thing is, whether it's direct mail or anything, it's always the list. It's message to market match. And so if you're just going out after a neighborhood, that's obviously going to be different than if someone's subscribing to y'all's probate service or subscribing to one of the services that y'all provide, which is a more distinctive cohort of client that have a higher probability of selling. So I think it's more of a strategy. The strategy is turnover, right? My big aha moment was home evaluation leads cost $8 a lead on average after generating 150,000 nationwide in 12 months. Data cost a penny, but it's the labor efficiency ratio, like predictable revenue with Aaron Ross and Mary Lou Tyler, where they did, or the Baylor University study that was commissioned by Gary Keller, where they made the calls at an average of, you know, income of $356, I believe, if I'm quoting it right, per hour. I mean, you can't make $1 million a year doing $20 an hour work. So what's the highest leverage activity? Well, if you don't have any money to invest, so you can't invest a nickel, a quarter, or a dime to create a dollar, because you're not at that stage in the business where you have the discretionary income to invest in your business, then you have to invest your time, because you have to do a revenue generating activity. You have things that create a sale and service a sale. And so the real question is who is the audience? Even for who we're talking to, we have a handful of people watching this webinar. I would say that I believe there's not a one size fits all solution. What I do believe is that when you help people, that you need to be able to help people by understanding where they're at and what their bottleneck. It goes back to the goal, right? The goal, the book, the goal. It's mandatory reading in most MBA courses. It goes back to the theory of constraint. The theory of constraint says, what is the one thing that you do that makes everything else infinitely easier? Well, for me, that's the value proposition. You can make a phone call or put a postcard, but that's like, you know, a bottle of wine is not, the content of the wine is what's valuable, not the bottle. I mean, there's a lot of artistry and sophistication and work and labor and soil and seeds that go into making wine. And that's what happens is people, you know, I think you have to ask a different question. How do I create a comprehensive strategy to get people that are predetermined to do business with me, that look at me as a subject matter expert? And, you know, Warren Buffett says 50% of your success is your ability to articulate your durable competitive advantage, why someone should do business with you over all alternatives. And so for us, that's a proven repeatable system backed by market research to sell your home for up to 18% more than the methods used by traditional agents. Would you like me to show you how? If you don't have a compelling value proposition that you can articulate out of your mouth and sharp and sound enthusiastic as hell and sharp as a tack, then you need to work on your skills, right? You need to work on your skills, because why would you want to go invest money in marketing to lose the opportunity? You want to be trained like you're disarming a bomb. Who wants to be in the room with someone who's not an expert? So right. The thing is that if somebody's not fully trained, maybe they need to go get trained. If somebody is trained, you know, it's time on task. Are you putting in the work? And you got to be honest with yourself, you know? So for me, I would say that you said, what do you say to somebody who is saying there's a shifting market? Can I get 2% back? First of all, I would tell you that people who ask questions control the conversation. So I'd answer that with a question. I would say, what do you mean? You know, that's what I would say from a sales training standpoint. What do you mean? Tell me more. I don't understand. Right? I would try to get deeper into the question to find out why. I would try to find out what their basis was, and more importantly, what their reasons for selling were and what their pain was. People, you know, you're in the business of selling pain pills. So find out what is the pain that they're trying to solve if you want to be able to help move them to taking action.
Love it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So a wealth of information. Cindy said fire hose. I love that. That's awesome. Michael, I got a question for you though. You said something about, okay, so you said something about strategy, right? And then you said something within that massive amount of awesome information. You mentioned that people who miss 2 credit card payments are 32% chance of listing their home. Share more about that.
So we created, without getting into too much of the backstory, I worked with we hired a data scientist a long time ago, 2016, and we just were doing a lot of data mining. And so we could tell if somebody bought a pregnancy test and owned a home that didn't have enough bedrooms for the new child, right? So we had a lot of data. Yeah. And in those data cohorts, one of the data points that we had were people who missed a second credit card payment. And so, you know, back in the day, that was a precursor of a short sale opportunity, right? Right. And so if somebody, you know, defaults on a second credit card payment, then they were probably going to be in a situation, whether they admitted it or not, because everybody has a different, you know, some people don't give 2 craps and they're like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And other people, you know, I mean, my mom is different than my dad. They're 2 different people. My mom is like a C, my dad's a D, right? And so like everybody handles stress in their life differently. So you miss 2 credit card payments. You're not going to call your brother-in-law and tell him to list your house. You might want to tell him that you missed 2 credit card payments, right? Like everybody has a different level of, so what we found was that was a good data set to leverage. And those people responded usually with motivation or would call you back, but they were, you know, they had a problem in their life that they were trying to solve, and whether they wanted to face it today or next month, it wasn't going away, because if they couldn't make the last 2, there's probably a chance that they were not going to make the next 2. Right. And if we weren't putting pressure on them, you know, they were going to be getting mail in the mailbox that they weren't going to want to open very soon if they haven't already. And so those people became very receptive to messaging, marketing.
Yeah,
Interesting.
One thing I loved about what you said about strategy, and it kind of goes to my next thought, is that I love what you said, because I think if you have the solid strategies that you're talking about, if you've created a business plan, then the market changing, there might be some messaging that you work with, you're always working on the offer, those kinds of things. But if you have a solid strategy, then the market shift isn't as scary. And so, but I think that there's a lot of agents that got in the last couple of years that either didn't set up a business plan that can work through the shifting markets, or they just didn't set up a business plan because they were like, oh, the market's so hot, I'll just sell homes. Like, so what, maybe for a new agent or someone that's just been in their last couple of years, that this is the first kind of change in the market that they're seeing. What's something that you'd recommend? Because you've talked about a lot of different data points. You talk about digital marketing. What is a strategy that you'd tell a new agent or a newer agent that's maybe worried right now that they should be more in tune to, or a skill they should sharpen, or a strategy that you think that they should adopt right away?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be developing a personal economic model and an effort metric. Like for me, when I first got into real estate, it was, I lived in Oklahoma, I moved to Dallas. I wouldn't say I was the smartest kid in class. I tried to always sit next to him. But the truth is that, for me, it was like, putting door hangers on a door. That's how I built my lawn service, right? And so I put door hangers on a door. I put so many on a door. For so many I put on a door, so many people called. I got so many lawns. I knew how much the paper cost, how much my time was worth. I didn't have anything better to do with my time. And so that was my method, right? And so when I had in 2016, when I wrote the book, Inside Sales Predictability, I had 18 ISAs, right? And at the peak, I was making 18,000 outbound calls a week. My goal was to get to $1 million a month. And I learned a lot during that time. But what I learned was anybody can be successful. That's what I confirmed. You can't hire 18 people in 12 months and make them all produce. Tatum Hood never sold more than 10 homes. And 10 homes a year in a 12-month period. I'm sorry. He never sold more than 18 homes in a 10-month period. And his first year with us did 48 transactions, all focused on listings, all focused on data, right? And so what you have to do, I would say, as a new agent is when I say, so for me, an example, someone gets a referral, that means nothing to me. What means something to me is that, let me take one step back. I won't forget any of these points, but you're digging into it leads over to a bigger problem. So you said business plan. And so there's two parts about business plan. Business plan, I think you need a lead generation plan. So people tell me they want to sell 100 homes this year. I want to know what percentage of those are going to be referral. You can't just say I'm going to sell 100 homes. That's not a plan. You don't have a strategy. So for instance, when I was going to sell 100 homes, I would say I'm going to sell 100 homes and 18 are going to be from expireds. 10 are going to be from past clients. 11 are going to be from Julie, my buyer's agent, because I know that's her productivity per year. I'm not going to just say a home. I'm going to have an estimation so that when I look back over the quarter, and I know this is on a small scale, but if I was talking to a shareholder and they said, okay, Mike, I own a percentage of your company, you're going to sell 100. Why don't you tell us why we missed the mark this quarter? Well, you know what? Referrals were down. We anticipated a 21% referral efficiency ratio through our 3 text, email, and 1 card. And what we're going to do this month is we're going to layer in another piece of communication to hopefully get more engagement, right? Because we hit our expired number, Jen hit her number, but we were off here on our assumptions. So no one treats it like a business. They want to sell 100 homes. Tell me how. What is your let me ask you a question. How many unique visitors did you have come to your website last month? Oh, first of all, nobody knows, and let's just face the fact. So they don't even know if it's up or down, and they don't damn sure know what it's converting at. I mean, if you're going to sell more homes, they think they need 100 more leads. Well, you don't need 100 more leads if your spoke to ratio is 22%, because every Saturday and Sunday, which is 34% of the time homes are on the market, every other weekend you don't work, right? And some months you do and some months you don't. So you have to be honest with yourself. Like, how many days am I going to work? What percentage of those times, where is my highest leveraged activity? What am I going to do? So if you're a new agent, you need a personal economic model with a strategy to win before you start. Hope is not a strategy. right? And so, you know, I think that, you know, you either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. You either get a plan that you believe in, or you can, you know, when it gets painful enough, you won't. But I think that at the end of the day, I believe, honest to God, in my heart, that anybody can be successful if they obey the rules of success. But you ain't driving from Dallas to Houston on $5 in gas. It's not going to happen. And you're not going to sell a bunch of homes making 5 phone calls a month, spending no money in marketing. You got to have a plan that's backed up with a game plan on how you're going to get from point A to point Z. So show me your lead generation and what you're going to do. And then let's look back and iterate, right? Okay, where were we wrong? And let's seek, ask, receive, take action, persistent accountability, right? So all change starts with awareness. And so you have to first have awareness. You have to be consciously competent to know where you're off. You know, in the book, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, it says the one thing that makes the biggest difference in a good or bad strategy is making sure you're solving the wrong problem. Do you have a skill set problem? Do you have a lead generation problem? Do you have a budget problem? Do you have a work ethic problem? That's your responsibility. It's your responsibility. Your responsibility. 100% accountability, 0 excuses. It's your responsibility to know the problem that's holding you back. It's your business. And so I think you got to take accountability as a new agent. People like me want to help new agents that want to have help, you know, but I'm not in the business of making people believe. That's not the business I am. You believe in Santa Claus if you want to. I'm in business of math, right? Doing the math. And I'm in the business of tough love, but my people aren't successful because most people are just selling themselves on some narration on why things aren't going to work. That's a bunch of BS. I sold 4 homes in my first 30 days in real estate at 21 years old, living in an apartment with an S10 pickup and 2 spare tires. You can sell a home. I just talk to more people than you know? And at the end of the day, let me tell you what it comes down to, Jay, because it was a great question. Conversations, period. I don't know how many conversations you need to have versus I need to have. Maybe you need to have more than me. But there is a certain amount of conversations. You need to know how many conversations you need to have, and you better have a darn strategy to have conversations. Those are the 2 things I know for fact. Are you're trying to get somewhere. You know, you're trying to drive 500 miles on a gallon of gasoline, and the math don't add up. If you ain't having conversations, and I guarantee you, if you ain't making the money you want to, you ain't having enough conversations. Point blank. Now, you can have everybody else tell you all the other stuff that you want to hear, but I don't need nothing from you. You know, I'm just trying to help you. Hopefully, the only thing that I can do is help you change the way you think, right? You know, change happens in an instant. It's your decision to change. So if you ain't getting what you want, you know, you got to think, use Elon Musk's mental model, assume you're wrong. Maybe something you're doing, you're wrong. Change your strategy, change your result. Success has principles. You're either obeying them or you're not. Look at The Biggest Loser, the television show, 400 pounds. They go from 400 pounds to 12% body fat. Why? Because they're held accountable to do the right things every day.
Absolutely.
That was gold free coaching for everyone that joined in today. So like just play that over again to know how to set
golden
up
nugget,
your business.
nuggets galore.
Sure was gold. I mean, the comments would come in and everyone was excited about that answer.
Gold.
So.
All caps, Cindy again. I do have a question for Michael though, unless you got one, Robert. You good?
No, go for it, Mark.
Cool, awesome. And I know we're kind of getting closer and closer, running out of time. We're gonna have to do another one of these though, for sure. If you're down, Michael. But question for you though, you mentioned several times lead generation. Kind of curious to know, through your process over the years in the business, what do you think is the most effective way to lead generate for you right now in today's market?
Well, so for Michael Reese, Michael,
Yeah.
are just for me, it's turning a dime into a dollar. It's just math, right? So the most effective way is that I was taught and trained, spent every Friday with Jay Abraham, the $9 billion man, the best living marketer alive. I had a call with him every Friday, and he installed a lot of his beliefs into me and changed my paradigm. But one thing he said is that you have an unlimited budget for things that work. The only budget you have is a testing budget. So in my life, you know, the biggest constraint, remember constraints, it's always what you're thinking. A lot of people, I had to learn how to invest in my business. I was very frugal. I was known for that, still am known for being a frugal person. But not anymore when it comes to my business. In fact, it's probably the biggest blessing I got. And what I mean by that is that he explained to me, Mike, if you invest, I'll give you an example real quick. I invested in postcards. I mailed every expired in my market, right? And I got it down to a science. And that science that I got my mailers down to, I knew what it was profitable, right? I knew that my customer acquisition was $168 a transaction. So if my transaction average commission was 9,000, how many times would you invest $168 to make 9,000? As many as you could. So my mental model that's a little bit different is I'm asking myself, and I said this today, I'm at an event that I was speaking at, and I said, my goal is at lunch, I said, my goal is to see how can I spend 100,000 a month on this, because if I can't, it doesn't scale. So for me, marketing has to scale. So an example for that would be running an ad, but then retargeting that audience. So I'll give you a better example. When I did my home evaluation process, thinking of selling, find out what your home's worth. Step one would grab the address and put the contact record into the CRM. But a lot of the time when that CRM would capture that person, they wouldn't finish the form. So they didn't give me a phone number. So we'd use services like REDX to get the phone number. And we would add them to a survey database. And we did 62% of our listings via people who never gave us our phone number, but we captured their address. So now in e-commerce, that's called an abandoned cart sequence, right? So if you are on Shopify, there's a lot of people, young people making a ton of money selling e-commerce, Shopify. They all have abandoned cart sequences, right? First Form, Redcon 1, nutritional products. If someone goes to the site, starts the order, and then bails on the cart, they're going to get an email or a text because they capture that, and that data is out there public. Well, that happens with us in real estate websites. And so, for me, it's trying to capture a data point before I ask for the phone number, so that I can increase conversion. So we had, like I said, and this is the real numbers, 51%. I only know this because I've done this webinar and shared this on the road, but 51% of our people we captured from the site, just happens to be the numbers, but 62% of the people that we captured and actually listed their home were people that didn't give us a phone number. We called it Get It Anyway, right? So I think it's always having a multi-step checkout, and being able to put a really good offer out into the market. Here's a better final answer for you, is if you can't run your ad, like if you have an ad and you're doing paid advertisement, if you're not running that ad on Yahoo, then you're not scaling. And I'm saying that not because Yahoo's anything special, but you shouldn't be trying a new ad. You should be scaling the one that works. If you can put $100 into it and it works on Facebook, then it should work on a YouTube ad. It should work in a LinkedIn ad. It should work on and now those ads should have, like if someone engages with my ad, I might want to retarget to them. So for us, we launched a company that helped homeowners find federal, state, and municipal grants. The long story short is we lowered our costs per lead by so our average cost was like $7.82 or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, $7 and change, but we did lower it to $3 and change by retargeting the audience that was already engaged, by having demonstration proof, like the book Biology. When people don't buy from you, they don't believe you. So if right now I'm seeing people crush it with Google reviews, absolutely crush it. That's free, low cost, no cost traffic. If somebody sees your ad, then they look you up. How do you show up? So there's things like that. If somebody hits my landing page, are they going to see 6 of my testimonials in their news feed? So for me, it's creating that the remarketing and the long-term follow-up with, and there's a lot of good books out there right now that are, really case driven. But I think, the fortune in the follow-up also today means in the follow-up campaigns not follow-up calls, the follow-up campaigns, right? The guy that hit my website and filled out the form that he wanted to sell his home and checked the box, is he in a campaign?
Right.
Love it.
That's
The proof to the pudding.
yeah.
Yeah.
To me, once you get it, once you nail the funnel, it's game over. You scale. I mean, you know, once you nail the customer acquisition and you can prove it mathematically, you can make it. You're no longer in the business. You're no longer in the business of generating leads. You're in the business of finding talent to work the leads.
Mhm. Yeah, Michael, this has been absolutely awesome. Robert, this has been awesome as well. It's been a wealth of information. Robert, do you have any questions before we close?
So I have two really important ones. One, we have to do this again because a half hour is not enough to get all the info from Michael that we need. And two, I'm agreeing with Alicia here in chat that the next one will be in Puerto Rico in person.
Let's
so
go.
Those are my two.
Let's go.
I mean, hey, like I said, I was going to end it early and just go, but I mean, I'm sure the next one's fine.
That's all I have to add.
Oh, man. Michael, anything you want to add?
Man, check me out on YouTube, youtube.com/Michael Reese.
Is that the best way to get a hold of you check it out is YouTube?
Man, I try to put out a lot of content. I believe in YouTube. Like I told you, I had a new partner that came on with me January 6th, 2021, his first year in real estate. This guy worked in my lawn service. He managed he was my assistant manager at Valley's, called me up, lost his job due to COVID. He asked me what I do. I said, sell real estate. He came out to Puerto Rico, created a plan. His first 12 months in real estate, did over 1 million GCI, did over 100 deals in the first 100 days of this year. He's now featured in the new YouTube Secrets Part 2 book, you know, and you know, I get like this guy's practically family, never sold a house 18 months ago. And so, you know, I think I'm a big component of, you know, learn, teach. I believe, you know, I think it's all about creating value. And I think YouTube is a great place for real estate agents to do that, both in their communities and for their community of realtors and for their communities for selling homes. So
I love that. I just plugged your YouTube channel in the chat. So anyone who's wondering, it's right there, ready to rock and roll. A click away.
All right,
awesome, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Joining.
Take care.
Y'all take care.